All right, let's get back to football. It's a huge football weekend and one of the great games we've all been waiting for. Bills, Chiefs, for a lot of people, this is the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Does the Bills defense have the goods to stop the Kansas City offense? Does Mahomes do something crazy in this game? Give us a little handicapping on it.
Well, for me, it's all about the quarterbacks. And I know there's a lot of window dressing with everybody else, and I'm a receiver, so if the quarterbacks are playing great, that means some receivers are getting off as well. But for me, going back to last year, in the postseason, what we saw, this duel, this back and forth, this head-to-head between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be about which one of these quarterbacks can lead their team, and we know they're both special, but who wants it more and who is willing to put it all on the line in the regular season? Because this is not just any game. This is a game they're playing. This could potentially determine who gets the number one seed.
That's right.
If you're Kansas City Chiefs, you do not want to travel to Buffalo.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Right.
Reasons why? Because of what happened last year.
Sure.
But for me, it's all about the quarterback play. It should be electric. It won't be like last night, so make sure you stay tuned.
No, it's the exact opposite of last night.
That's a promise.
We're going to see competent offensive football, and a lot of us are going to sit back and go, how come my team doesn't look like these two teams, right? I mean, that's how I'm going to view it. And I'm as good as the Jets are playing right now. You're going to watch these guys play, and I could give you 10 different ways either team can win the game. What I'm just hopeful for, I know it's a bad kind of cliche, give us what we got in the playoffs last year.
And
give us that kind of game.
That's the scary part, because that's what everybody's anticipating.
Of course.
That's the expectation. That's the standard now. It happened one time, and even myself, I'm caught up in it. Both of these quarterbacks can light up the scoreboard because of the skill guys that they have at their disposal, and so the expectation is like, there's not going to be any defense play.
You know what's weird about it? It's the expectation is also for guys that care about this sort of thing, wink, wink, Fox bet, is that the Buffalo Bills are thought to be the better team right now. All right, I don't gamble, but I'll acknowledge that there's a spread, obviously, in the game. And for the first time since Mahomes became the starting quarterback, the Kansas City Chiefs are home underdogs. Now, that means nothing. The New York Giants were 9-point underdogs in London. They beat the Green Bay Packers, so you can't make a decision on the game based on what Vegas says. But it is interesting that the money is leaning towards Buffalo, which really makes no sense, because all Kansas City does is win at home.
This is true. Even though I'm picking the Buffalo Bills.
You're one of those guys.
I'm one of those guys. I am picking the Buffalo Bills, but I am no fool. I understand what they're up against. And going into Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes is going to be tough. So for them to be the favorite in Vegas, it's a little weird when you got Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and he's playing at home.
Yeah, one of the big names in this game, of course, is Von Miller. Von, like everyone else that has a pulse, has a podcast. And, but this was not out of his podcast. This was him talking at a press conference regarding Bills versus Chiefs and where his real rooting interest lied even before he joined Buffalo. If you take this game and just put it aside and we should all just sit down and watch it for the entertainment it's going to be, when you talk about your peers and guys that look like they're destined for the Hall of Fame, they're not going there just yet. It's funny how you're connected, right? John Elway, Dan Marino, the 83 quarterback class, all those guys that came out. And he's right about that. That, 10, 15 years from now, at some point, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are going to retire pretty close to one another. And these battles are going to be the stuff that we talk about for a very long time. Fingers crossed. They don't play each other every single year, but having the great playoff game last year, having this, early season matchup, we're all thinking AFC Championship game. What Von said is right. We're lucky to be able to sit down and watch these guys play and these teams play. And 10 years from now, I'm sure those two guys will have mad respect for each other and will look back on their careers of, hey, I got you that one time. Oh, but I got you 2 years later. And I'm just thrilled to be able to watch it.
Yeah, these games are legacy games. These are games that cement who you are and what you mean to not only your organization, but to the National Football League as a whole. When you can have guys, the reason why players make the Hall of Fame and the guys who are in the Hall of Fame, it's You can't tell a story about their team or an organization without that player. This type of matchup is what makes us tell these stories about the battles going back and forth, the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's.
Sure.
Like, that is what builds up the mystique, the legend, and if Josh Allen can just get it done,
you know, it's
now
funny.
and in the playoffs.
I'm thinking about, as you're saying it, it's Brady and Manning, it's Mahomes and Allen, it's Rodgers and Garoppolo.
What is your deal with Rodgers?
And it's not Wentz and Fields.
It's not Wentz and Fields.
Is that fair to say? Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.